Welcome coaches and players, my name is Coach Mike and today we're going to be analyzing one of the world's most elite academy teams, Barcelona's Under 10 youth team. Today's video will solely focus on kickoffs as we will be analyzing Barcelona's kickoff routine and system so that you can apply some of these concepts to your team. Without further ado, let's now take a look at Barcelona's Under 10 formation on game day. FC Barcelona's U10 youth team uses a 1-3-1-1 formation come game day. This formation firstly consists of a center back, followed directly in front by a central defensive midfielder. We will then notice two players who will play really wide, the right midfielder as well as the left midfielder. Next, a central midfielder will play right in front of the center defensive mid, and finally a point striker solely at the front. At first glance, this formation may seem quite unbalanced as the gap between the centralized players and the wingers seem to be quite significant. However, you will quickly notice that FC Barcelona purposely creates these gaps in order to allow their players to create runs and facilitate through balls throughout the game. Here are a few still images of FC Barcelona's starting formation come game day. You can notice the intact 1-3-1-1 formation at the beginning of the game, and notice especially both wingers being extremely wide and hugging the sidelines at the beginning. Now let's take a look at FC Barcelona's kickoffs. Here's the first example of a kickoff. This is FC Barcelona versus Levante. Right off the bat, FC Barcelona goes wide to the left mid, who then brings it all the way back to the center back. A switch to the right midfielder forces two players to commit to him, and he then plays the ball back central and they attack down the middle. FC Barcelona forces the kickoff wide right off the bat, which forces three Levante players to commit to the left midfielder. The left midfielder passes it all the way back to the center back, who switches it to the right midfielder. Barcelona's number 2, the central defensive midfielder, now recognizes the gap between number 7 and number 4 of Levante's team. He fills in that gap for a through ball and recognizes now that number 8, the center mid, drops back for a centralized pass. Number 8 now is in a great position to attack number 5 with speed and potentially play a 1-2 with number 10 or even with number 3 as they attack together. Here's FC Barcelona's kickoff versus FC Dallas. Right away, Barcelona again goes to the wing, and the winger attracts three players in order to open up the middle. Unfortunately, a bad pass forces Barcelona to go all the way back to the center back, who right away switches the ball again to his left midfielder, who now has a one-on-one opportunity versus the defender. FC Barcelona goes wide right off the bat once again. The left midfielder here, noticing that three FC Dallas players commit to him, will force the players to commit even further in order to open a through ball to the center defensive mid. Now the center defensive mid tries to switch it but does a bad pass which forces Barcelona to play back. Now notice here that number 4 for Barcelona, the center back, does not go all the way behind number 9 as support. He stays centralized in order to get the ball and have enough time here to switch the ball to number 3 to pursue their attack. Here's another great example of FC Barcelona sticking to their strategies of going wide right off the kickoff despite a tremendous amount of pressure. Here right off the kickoff, two Madrid players intensely press the center mid, who switches it immediately to his winger, who does a nice technical gesture over his defender. Here is FC Barcelona versus Benfica. In true Barcelona fashion, they start right off the bat going to the wings. Now the winger passes it back to the center back, who then switches it to the left mid. The left mid is pressed in, the center back is in a bit of trouble, so decides to give it back to the goalie. Both wingers having dropped back to help, the goalie decides to go to the right midfielder right away. Now the right midfielder plays the ball down the wing, makes a run for a 1-2, and attracting defenders opens up the striker for a through ball. FC Barcelona will adhere to their kickoff system and go wide right off the bat. Now Benfica does a really good job for the first few passes to press the players. Now from the switch to the wing back to the middle, they will switch the ball again to the left mid. Now the left mid is pressed in, the center back is also pressed in, so he decides to go back to the goalie. The goalie plays wide to the right mid, who then decides to play the ball down the wing instead of to the middle. He does a 1-2 run which forces multiple players to commit to him, which opens up number 7 for a through ball. Now let's take a look at FC Barcelona's first kickoff principle, where wingers stay very wide during the kickoff. FC Barcelona's number 1 principle for their kickoff is to go wide right away. This is done through the combination of two midfielders, a right midfielder as well as a left midfielder. Their job is not only to stay wide throughout the kickoff, but they also stay wide throughout the game. By forcing teams to defend wide players, this naturally opens up multiple gaps in the defense, and this allows Barcelona to consistently have through ball opportunities throughout the game. FC Barcelona knows that by going wide right off the kickoff, they're going to attract multiple players to the ball. As you can see in this example, 2 midfielders as well as the striker collapsed on the left midfielder. Attracting 3 players will open up 2 through ball opportunities as well as a safer option to go all the way back to the center back. A quick and successful through ball to a center midfielder can open up a tremendous gap for a 1v1 situation in the offensive zone. He can then release a through ball to a striker for a breakaway. He can also decide to dribble towards the wing, attracting a second defender and releasing a through ball to his right midfielder. A secondary passing option is going with a through ball directly to the striker. In this example here, the striker plays a 1-2 with the center mid. Another option is to play a 1-2 himself with the striker, making a run down the wing, and then using that space to cut in, attract the second defender, and potentially playing a cutback to the striker who can then dribble in and take a shot on net. The third and final passing option when playing the ball to the wing is to play the ball straight back to the center back. This allows the ball to be switched and for pressure to be alleviated from the left side. Upon passing the ball back to the center back, both wingers drop to provide support. Now notice here that number 7 from the other team pressed the center back and now continues the pressure towards the right mid upon the switch. What happens here is that this opens up a gap between number 5 and number 7, which allows the center defensive mid to squeeze in, get a through ball, and now he has an opportunity to either drive the ball forward or make a pass. What would happen if FC Barcelona started their wingers closer to the center mid rather than keeping them wide? In this kickoff over here, both wingers stayed closer to the center midfielder to potentially provide more help and support. Now what happens here is that number 6 and 7 of the opposition are able to run into the defensive zone and close both players in. Notice now that the passing options are extremely limited and FC Barcelona is boxed in. Let's now move on to kickoff principle number 2 for FC Barcelona, which consists of the center back staying central during kickoff. FC Barcelona's center back is a crucial player during kickoff as he provides the safest passing option when the ball goes straight to the wing. Now usually when the ball goes to the wing, the center back would have the tendency to drop a little further back behind in order to provide a safe passing option. Now FC Barcelona does not do this for this exact reason over here. They refuse to put themselves in a situation where they will be boxed in by the defensive players. By dropping deep behind the left midfielder, the center back has essentially in this case provided a safe passing option. However, the number 7 striker of the opposing team, who initially pressed the left midfielder, can now quickly close the gap between himself and the center back. This now causes every single Barcelona player to be pressed by an opposing player and increases the chances of the ball being intercepted in a dangerous area near the net. Barcelona therefore opts for the center back to stay much more central during kickoff, and once he receives that ball from the left midfielder, he now has enough time to receive it, create space, and switch that ball to the right midfielder if he needs to. With that switch, FC Barcelona creates space for players to run into for potential through balls or attacking 1v1. Let's now take a look at kickoff principle number 3 for Barcelona, where the center midfielder looks to get into gaps. FC Barcelona's center mid, here number 4, is consistently looking to get into gaps in order to receive the ball. These potential through balls can create really great scoring opportunities. Notice that he shadows the ball wherever it goes, and he's consistently looking to go and create options at a 45-degree angle, which would allow him to receive the ball between 2 players if 2 players are pressing the ball. He can also take advantage of his position and his role to drag players away from the ball, opening up gaps for his teammates. He can also inconspicuously drop into space. Here, noticing that number 3, his center defensive mid, was about to get a through ball, instead of pushing forward, he decided to drop back. What happens here is that by drawing his defender back towards the middle, once the center defensive mid will get the ball, his defender, number 4, will commit to number 3, and now with a pass, he has himself a lot of space to dribble into. Now let's take a look at kickoff principle number 4 for Barcelona, where the center defensive midfielder prioritizes supporting the wings and the center back. FC Barcelona's central defensive midfielder is an extremely important player during kickoff. His main job is to support any player who receives the ball in the defensive zone. Here he made himself available upon passing the ball to the left mid. Now as the ball is played back to the center back, he centralizes himself, and noticing a switch here, he gets himself into space. Upon receiving the ball into space, he now has the option to deliver the ball forward or play it back to the center back. Let's take a look at Barcelona's final kickoff principle, which is that the striker's job is to create gaps between the opponent's defense and the midfield. FC Barcelona's strikers right off the kickoff will pass the ball back and head straight downfield and find the closest defender to stick to. What this does is it prevents the defender from pushing further up the field and closing in Barcelona into their zone. By fending off the defenders and preventing them from pushing Barcelona deeper into their zone, he also is an offensive threat. Notice that the space that he creates here allows himself to receive a through ball, putting himself in a 1v1 situation. If he wasn't a viable passing option, notice that what he will do is he will shadow the ball, staying really deep into the zone. Upon noticing the switch to the right midfielder, notice that he's not going to be coming back to the center of the field. He's actually going to keep maintaining space between himself and the midfielders and force the defender to follow him deep into the zone. A pass over here could be a great opportunity for a 1v1 situation, or if he wants to, he can drag his defender even deeper, closer to the sidelines, creating an even bigger gap for his teammates to run into. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will take the time to personally answer every single one of them. Also, let me know in the comments what is the next Barcelona's Under 10 Academy analysis video that you'd like to see, whether it's how Barcelona attacks, defends, whatever you'd like. And if you don't mind, please leave a little tiny thumbs up and feel free to subscribe in order to be notified when the next video comes up. I wish you guys all the best. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys next time.